For Body Chemistry Associates and Health Connection Radio, I'm your host, nutritional biochemist Jay Foster. This is the second in our three-part series on anti-aging. The first we focused on the brain. Today we're going to focus on the bones. There are ways to reverse osteoporosis and ways to not reverse it, and certainly with osteopenia as well. Now, one of the problems is that they don't know what they're doing about this, but there's a lot of hazards of the medications for osteoporosis, like Fosamax and Actonel and Boniva and Reclast and now Forteo. They're really problematic. They've got a lot of side effects. Here it talks about Fosamax and Actonel linked to death of the jawbone. They say that these bisphosphonate drugs remain in the bone indefinitely. The FDA review concluded that all bisphosphonate labels like Fosamax should mention osteonecrosis, death of the bone in the jaw. Also, Fosamax and Reclast were linked to heart arrhythmias. New England Journal of Medicine in May of 2007, a 50% greater risk of serious heart rhythm problems in women who took daily Fosamax than among those who didn't take it. And all of these bisphosphonates act in a very similar fashion. So if you're on Actonel instead of Fosamax, if you're on Reclast instead of Actonel or whatever, or Forteo, they all do basically the same thing. I just saw an ad on the TV. I think it was for Forteo, and it says it stops the cells that are damaging your bones. Well, that's a process of bone growth. You have to break down old bone in order to build new bone. Now, these drugs do nothing but keep old bone around because they inhibit the process of bone breakdown to clean out the old and make room for the new. It is an essential process. It's supposed to happen, and they're talking about it like it's they're rescuing you from your bone destruction cells. Anyway, those medications all have harmful side effects, including after about 5 years, they increase your fracture risk. And isn't that why you're taking these medications, so you don't break bones? And where these medications seem to cause their greatest fractures are in the upper thigh bone. Now, that's a very, very strong bone in humans, and it hardly ever breaks except for in a car accident. But women were walking around after 5 years on Fosamax-related drugs, and the bone would snap and then they would fall. It's called an atraumatic fracture. Most often they think, well, you fell and you broke your hip, you broke your leg or whatever. But in these cases, it finally was just accumulating so much old bone and not making any new. It was like building a house of cards. And the fracture rate starts going up after 5 years. Now, the Fosamax company and the Actonel company don't want you to focus on that. But it was even on ABC World News, this is now years ago, but they had it on their website, and they showed the x-rays of the fractures that happened. The bone was sheared right across from taking those medications. So the medications have a lot of side effects, and that's the first problem. And then the next one is that calcium in dairy products are ineffective or worse on bone health. They may actually aggravate osteoporosis, calcium in dairy products. New England Journal of Medicine back in 2002, in a recent JAMA article in, I think it was 2016 or 17, calcium and vitamin D supplementation and the risk of fractures. Calcium with vitamin D supplementation did not significantly reduce hip fractures and increased the risk of kidney stones. And that's because you're just throwing more calcium at it and causing calcium deposits with the vitamin D. So you have to be very careful with those things. Most women don't need calcium from what we see. And then in Scientific American in September of 2007 said that the areas of the world with the highest dairy and calcium intake had the highest rates of osteoporosis. Boy, does the Dairy Council not want you to know that one. So what about other trace elements or major minerals that are involved in the bones? Well, magnesium is extremely important and much more important than calcium when we're talking about bone health. And I didn't update this today. I was on PubMed. This says 385 articles. I think there's probably now over 600 articles on magnesium and bone loss, preventing bone loss with magnesium. This was from a Science News report, which was reporting about a 1990 study reported in the Journal of Reproductive Medicine. They said in postmenopausal women, and we think in premenopausal women also, that magnesium is more important than calcium in reversing bone loss, not slowing it down or stopping it, reversing it, growing new bone. The authors argued that late onset osteoporosis in women may largely represent a chronic magnesium deficiency. In the Journal of Endocrinology in 2007, magnesium deficiency can cause impaired secretion of parathyroid hormones and will cause problems with the bones. This one case history said that her severe osteoporosis was reversed by magnesium supplementation. A more recent study, August of this year, 2018, in Clinical Intervention in Aging, correlations between bone turnover, serum magnesium, and bone mineral density in postmenopausal osteoporosis. Now, we don't use serum magnesium. We use either red blood cell magnesium, but most often hair with the calcium-magnesium ratio. Anyway, in the abstract of this, not extract, in the abstract it says, osteoporotic patients showed significantly lower concentrations of serum magnesium than the control group. Magnesium levels correlated positively with bone mineral density values. So the higher your magnesium intake, the higher the bone mineral density. And we've had really good success at turning this whole thing around. And then we have a special formula called Bon Appetit. I named it Bon Appetit because it's like food for the bones. And most of the literature on this is old because there's really no money in it. You know, the Fosamax and Actonel and Forteo all have all the money behind it, and they charge lots of money for those medications. But the active ingredient in our Bon Appetit formula is X-ray diffraction proven structure of MCHC, microcrystalline hydroxyapatite concentrate. Now, not all MCHC on the market is created equal. This one is the one we use, is proven by X-ray diffraction studies. So it says that MCHC supplementation resulted in an immediate positive calcium balance, which was maintained throughout the period of assessment in 2 cases. Substituting calcium gluconate, that's like a chelated calcium, for the MCHC resulted in a reduction of the positive balance. So the MCHC, even it lists calcium as calcium MCHC, but it's really not the calcium that's helping. It's the MCHC part, the microcrystalline hydroxyapatite part. And then there's other studies from 2006 in clinical calcium with magnesium, clinical calcium that talk about magnesium supplements, magnesium, zinc, and copper status in osteoporotic, osteopenic, and normal postmenopausal women. That was in the Journal of Internal Medicine Research in 2007. So there are plenty of studies about this with the Bon Appetit formula. And so the 2 major nutrients that we have for the bones are the Bon Appetit, and usually taking 2 to 3 a day. And then the magnesium 125, usually we give 2 before bed, unless that causes loose bowels, because magnesium has a side effect of loosening the bowels or causing diarrhea if you have too much. So you can start with 1 before bed of that. Now, I want to caution you that all the success that we've had with reversing osteoporosis, proving it on repeat DEXA scans, was done with a full program where they came in, we did an analysis, we find out exactly what they need, not just magnesium, not just the Bon Appetit formula, but are they low in copper, are they low in manganese, are they low in zinc, are they low in selenium, do they have too much aluminum? All these different factors can play a role in bone loss. So that's where we have had the greatest success. Some people just like to take the 2 formulas here, the Bon Appetit and the magnesium, and that's okay, but it works much better, and I feel more confident saying we've had good results when people come through our body chem program. Now, we're going to talk all about this in a lecture the Monday after Thanksgiving in South Miami, 6301 Sunset Drive. And it's a free lecture. Anybody's welcome. But we have limited seating, so we ask that you call and reserve your space. You can call us at the office, 305-670-6702, or 1-800-CHEMIST, 1-800-243-6478. Just tell us you want to come, how many seats to reserve for you, and we'll make sure we do that. During that lecture, and I believe it's November 26th, it's the Monday after Thanksgiving, 6 p.m., right off Sunset and US 1, just about a block or two up. We're going to talk about anti-aging, everything we're talking about in this 3 series of blogs. The first one on brain health, prevention of like Alzheimer's and other neurological conditions, Parkinson's. This one on the bone formulas we'll talk about at that lecture. And then the next blog I'm going to do in a little bit is about anti-aging nutrients and how they can affect hair, skin, and nails. We have very good success at helping to reverse hair loss in women. If I had the same success in men, I always say I'd be a billionaire, but we have very good success with women with our formulas and the nail strengthen. And this one product called HNS Formula is actually marketed by the company to remove wrinkles and fill those in, and it kind of rejuvenates the whole system from the outside. And then we'll talk about other nutrients about that in our follow-up blog. More information on our programs at Body Chemistry Associates. 36 years in South Florida, doing this work in human nutritional biochemistry and applied clinical nutrition. 1-800-CHEMIST, 1-800-243-6478. On the web, 1-800-CHEMIST.com. Jay Foster for Health Connection Radio and Body Chemistry Associates will be with you on a future blog.